Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Robert Blackman. Hey, today I'm going to do a little bit of different video. It's called "Whatever You Believe You're Right." Going to do the video today because I've been encouraged by my wife Sherry. Which, gosh, if you guys haven't met her yet, I just encourage you to reach out and meet her. One of the most beautiful, most wonderful woman that I've ever met in my life, and she has encouraged me. And also, I got my little riding gloves on. I've been out on my wheelchair this morning, did my mile on the wheelchair, trying to get myself built up. I'm looking into doing some wheelchair cycling and competition while I'm in it. I'm not going to be in it forever. So I decided that I might as well challenge myself and look at those. And so I'm reaching out. If anybody knows of any of those type of circuits, please inbox me, let me know, because I'm researching right now to get myself into shape, my upper body into shape. And if you've never been in a wheelchair, one of the most important things you can do is preserve your shoulders. Because if you lose your shoulders, you lose the ability not only to move the wheelchair, but also to transfer yourself out of bed over to the dinner table, to a car, to a bench seat at your son's ball game. It becomes impossible to move yourself, and it's impossible for anybody else to move you. So one of the things that you have to do, which thank goodness I'm an athlete, is you have to know how to train. You have to know how to protect your muscles. And so on. So if one of the things Sherry has encouraged me to do is do more videos that aren't about business. All you're doing is talking about business, business, business. And I go, well, the reason why I talk about business all the time is because when you have a deathbed experience, you go through this, as I say, you run two videos, and you may have experienced this, you may have not. But you go through two videos that you play in your mind. One video is your highlights reel. It's your greatest hits. It's an incredible video. It's an incredible album, if you want to call it an album, a greatest hits album, that you get to go back for as long as you can remember, all the way back to Little League days. We once stayed in a Little League. We were one game away from going to the College World Series, and when I was 12. Basketball, baseball, football, track. I think about all the accomplishments that I achieved. Going to college and getting a college degree. Going in and helping save my parents' printing company. Going over and taking over another printing company with no money down. And creating a multi-million-dollar business from scratch. Creating network marketing companies from scratch, and businesses and business models. Creating the #1 online recruiting system. I know Sherry told me not to talk about business, but a lot of my life has been about business. #1 recruiting system online ever. The Concord Group put in 80,000 paid members at $155 auto ship. And then my 5 children. And my wife. And my friends, of course, but there's just lots of things that you do in that movie that you go back and you see your accomplishments. Then you transition and you become a little melancholy, where you transition to your regrets. There is a movie, Regrets, that all of us will play on our deathbed. It's inevitable. There's no way that you can live your life to the fullest 100% of the time. It's impossible. So I found myself days at a time alone in the hospital with the nurses and the doctors, and where my wife and family couldn't come up because school was going on, life was going on. It was impossible for Sherry to come up all the time. So you find yourself days on end just in tears, emotional wreck, wishing you were dead. Even if you lived, to go back and correct some of those things in that movie of regret. That, how could I do that now? I'm in a wheelchair. I can't walk. I have permanent nerve damage. And the effort it's going to take just to get in and out of the wheelchair. How in the world can I go back and take care of all those things that I had for regrets? And so those are the things that you think about on your deathbed. I have a fortunate enough to be able to have one more shot, or maybe hopefully one more shot at a deathbed. So I'm able to survive my first attempt at it. And the great thing about it is, whatever you believe, you're right. And I knew this, and I had said this before I got cancer, and nothing has become more prevalent these days than that statement. And when you're in the state that I'm in at age 58, you ask yourself not only why, but what the hell? and just when I was kind of going to kind of coast, which was my mental faculties, coast into my business. My business was in a place to where I wanted it to be, to where I just could just do a few things, few hours a day, and had residual income coming in, doing what I loved. And then also you looked at that what you wanted to do is you not only had the children, but you had grandchildren coming up. And so you were going to create an environment to where you could spend time with them because of the fact that you were semi-retired, right? You just worked a few hours a day. You were on your cell phone. If you're on your cell phone today in network marketing, you could do it anywhere. So these were my challenges that I have to just get through the day. And then it's funny because I've been going through rehab recently. I had a pain pump put in. I don't know if you guys are aware or not. I've got spasticity in my legs, which means that the connection for the nerve damage is the nerve connection between your mind and your muscles has been disconnected. Nerves do and don't grow back. The ones that they sliced with a knife, those won't go back, but the ones that were damaged from radiation, from 2 different treatments of chemotherapy, and from neuropathy, those nerves slowly grow back over a period of time. But the spasticity got so bad that you can't even straighten your leg out, and you wake up and your legs are like this, and you're trying to cross them and you can't even cross them to put your pants on. It's a very frustrating thing where it takes 30 minutes to get ready and get out of bed in the morning. So I was taking orally the maximum amount of baclofen that you could, which was a drug that will help that connection. So it loosens the message up, tries to reconnect it so I can move my legs. Okay, just the bottom line. So because I was at the maximum amount of that, I had to take get inserted a baclofen pump. And if you've known of diabetics who have kind of a diabetic pump put in, so their insulin goes in all the time, they never have to worry about going into shock because they get the right dose. That's the same thing for me on baclofen. And now because I've been in 24/7 chronic pain because I'm working out, I'm actually working to walk again. I'm swimming, I'm on the bike, just went around, like I said, a mile in the neighborhood. And that puts stress on your legs. So being in chronic pain 24 hours a day, the only time I'm not in pain is when I'm asleep. And as soon as I wake up, I'm on a pain. And on a scale of 1 to 10, it spikes to 20 about half the time during the day. Right now, talking to you, I'm at about a 12 on pain. And I've had to learn how to manage my pain mentally and emotionally, which has taken me several months to do. But once the pump got put in, now you're going through a roller coaster of how much do we give him? And you start on small doses, you increase those. They put in something also to help with the nerves and the pain. Unfortunately, when they put in that medicine, my pain doubled, which is crazy. So you go back about every couple of weeks and you make minor adjustments to that. So the goal is that I'm almost pain-free so I can get through the day without having to go lay down or take a pill or something like that. So all that to say this. It's been amazing to me to go into the rehab facility on a day-to-day basis. And people look at you like, oh, well, what are you doing here again? I go, well, I'm working out. Well, how's it going? I said, well, I'm going to walk again. And they go, yeah, okay, well, good. It's like half the people want to believe you and the other half don't, okay? And so what's interesting is when you get in the pool and you start working out, and you start making grunting noises because there's this one bar that you pull up out of the pool. I've got weights on my legs. I got a vest on so I don't sink to the bottom with the weights. And people just stare at you and look at you like, what's he doing? And there's a group of people that are in the pool that I go, what are they even doing here? I mean, it's just a social party. I mean, they're sitting there moving their arms like this, and talking, and they're walking real slow. And I go, what are they doing? And I equate that to life. I equate it to our business. There's a lot of people that are in network marketing. I myself was guilty, where I just wanted to show up to events and socialize. And I would go from event to event to event, not building my business, but staying in the business so I could see other people succeed. Because I just wanted to be around it. I knew when I came back home, I had great intentions to do it, but I wouldn't do anything. And there's a tremendous amount of people in the rehab facilities that are there for emotional support, and I get that. And so instead of coming down hard on those people, I became compassionate and I started talking to them. Instead of looking at them like, get out of my way, I'm working out. It's like, hey, how you doing? I'm Robert. What's your name? And I started using some of my people skills just to get to know them and understand, well, I've had this thing my entire life. And I go, wow, you know, I've just had it for a year and I want to get rid of it. You know, and you've had this and you're 62 and you've had it since you were 5. I mean, gosh, I mean, unbelievable that you're still here working out. I find other people who we find out, they go, well, where'd they go? Well, they haven't been back. Well, they've given up. They've quit. And yeah, I've called them and told them to come back to the pool, but they just won't come back. They said it's just too much. And so to me, this is a journey for me. It's a second chance, and I don't really like to say the word second chance, but ultimately it's another chance for me to become a more complete person and become the person that I believe that God intended me to be. And I wasn't going down that path. I was going down a path of destruction, and I won't get into all that. But I was unhappy, very unhappy, personally, professionally. And these were things because I had planted seeds of unhappiness for a long time. So I've got an opportunity. And when you're on your deathbed, you will have a discussion with God. And that discussion is, just take me. Just take me, damn it. I'm done. And then there's the other part of you that will look up, if you're like me, and you'll look up and say, is this all you got? Bring it. I dare you to bring on more pain because I can handle it. And these days that I've been working out, I've been regretting that statement because he has brought on the pain. No, it's just the pain from working out. And most people don't experience this much pain because they're not pushing themselves. So not only can I not feel my legs 100%, I don't really know what I'm doing with them a lot of times. So I know I had a good friend of mine, Chuck Piot, come down. And Chuck, if you're watching this, thank you, brother. Put in a ramp for me in our home because we've got brick stairs that come up to our front door. So I was having to come in the side of the house where the trash cans were and having to unlock it and lock it back up and put the dogs up, make sure they weren't there because they had run out. So it was a real pain in the butt. So when somebody asked me, hey, Dad, you want to go to the grocery store? I go, well, it's going to take me 15 minutes to even get to the car. Just forget it. So I became kind of a shut-in. And so Chuck was asking my son, because he coaches at the school my son goes to, and we've been good friends. I mean, we've known Chuck since our kids were like 2. We all went to the St. Joe's together and went to All Saints together. And then he and I have been golfing buddies for a number of years and been good friends. Him and his wife had come over, Tina had come over and cooked a lot. So he called me and said, I'm coming over Saturday and I'm putting in a ramp. And I go, dude, here, let's go down to Home Depot. He goes, look, I've already got everything. A lot of this stuff was donated by the school, the stuff that they didn't want. So we're putting it together. So he backed his truck up. We had a cigar and spent all day Saturday putting in a ramp and, you know, nailing it into the cement and the bricks and watching him do it. And so that ramp has set me free. It's allowed me to be able to go out and just empty my own trash. It's allowed me to go out and get the mail. Just opened up my entire world to where I sat here in my office, I could look out the window and I could see people come and go, but I could never go out because I would fall down off the stairs. So that one simple act of kindness changed my life. And so if there's anything that I would suggest that you do today, find out what you can do. What's the one act of kindness that you can do for somebody that's in need? And you know, at 6'3", 225, I never needed anybody's help before. I not only never asked for it, I didn't know how to accept it. And I think if anything, I've been humbled because I've been forced to put in a position to accept acts of kindness without thinking that they're accepting my condition or that people are aware of my weakness or my condition that I have, because I don't want anybody to know I'm in a wheelchair, right? And which brings up the point, I had a guy the other day ask me, I said, well, come on, man, you need to come work with me at Fleece Cafe. And he goes, I just don't know. And I said, well, what's your concerns? He goes, well, your cancer. I go, that was a year ago, man. He goes, yeah, I know, but you know, you had made mention that you know, in a conversation, because he and I are friends, he goes that it's a 2-year window that if it's going to come back, it'll usually comes back in the first 2 years. And then after that, the scale goes way down as far as the percentages. I go, yeah. And he goes, well, I think I'm just going to wait till that 2nd year. And I go, why? He goes, well, what if your cancer comes back? I go, so what? I go, this business will run without me. I go, put this business together for Sherry and the kids. I go, do you think I'm the one manufacturing the product? I go, do you think I'm the guy out there and shipping, taping up boxes and making sure they go out? Or you think I'm the guy that designed the label and the packaging? I mean, yeah, I would work with the creative team. The design is Sherry and I's. I go, but I didn't, design the wording. I go, do you think that I run the software program that cuts checks? I go, dude, if I die tomorrow, Fleece Cafe is going to go on forever. That's the goal. That's the game plan. I go, not only between Sherry, but the 5 kids. I go, it's a family business. And so he goes, no, I think I'm just going to wait. And I go, and what program are you in? And he told me, and I go, and you think the owners there are safe? I go, you don't know what you don't know. I go, all emperors have no clothes. If you think that company's going to last forever and beat me, I said, then go ahead and wait a year. I go, wait the rest of your life and just see. So that's the perception of some people, and you have to learn how to live with that in all aspects of your life, not just in business or where I'm at right now. But to go back to the idea of the ramp, I want to let you know that I'm one of those crazy guys. I'll go down the ramp, my hands up, going woo like that, and of course the ramp has about that much of space on each side. So the margin of error to go down it, flying down it as fast as you can without falling or going over to the side, because it's only about that thick on the sides, is really slim. So it's very risky to do that. Well, of course, Sherry's been telling me, don't do that, you're going to fall. And I go, no, I'm not. I go, I'm never going to fall. I'm an athlete. I'm Robert Blackman. I'm never going to fall. Of course, one day I whizzed out there, hit something, went left, and then he went right, and then just went forward. Fell face down onto the ground. And Sherry was just like, oh my God. She was just like watching a train wreck. And fortunately, her and my daughter were there, because I'm not able yet, which I'm working out to. One of the things you have to learn how to do is when you fall out of a wheelchair, you got to learn how to flip the wheelchair up. Then you got to learn how to back up to it, and you got to be strong enough to pick yourself up and put yourself back in the seat on your own. Well, I haven't done that training yet. So it took some help to get me up there, and Sherry was just upset the rest of the day at me, saying, gosh, you're just running a risk. And I said, you know what, you're right. Because one of the things during rehab for your legs is if you can't feel your legs, you don't know if you twist your ankle. Heck, I wouldn't know if I broke my ankle right now. I wouldn't know if I blew up my knee, if I got an MCL or ACL tear and whatever I'm doing. I wouldn't know. So it's very important that I'm cautious. I'm careful with my technique. When I'm in the bike, I got to keep my knee straight. Sometimes we put a rubber band around it, big rubber band, so the knees stay in. Other times, I've got to hold the knees out based on spasticity. So it's very important that from this point forward, what I have to do in my personal life is I've got to take care of my shoulders, I got to take care of my legs, and I have to do everything cautiously. Where if anybody knows me, I've never done anything cautiously, and I've never done what anybody's told me to do. And so these are the challenges that I have personally, is to get myself back into a walker. That's the next step. And then and a walker, like, it's like the Tim Conway, Mr. Wiggins, Carol Burnett. I always make fun of that because I love that show. I love that character. And that's what I'm going to be, Mr. Wiggins, running around the house going, hey, honey, hey, honey. But if I could do that right now, it would be a blessing. But I've got to work myself back up to that. You don't realize what it's like when you've been in the hospital for 6 months. Your legs atrophy. You got to rebuild up your legs, not just your thighs or your calves or your feet, but also your glutes and your hamstrings. The glutes, I had no butt to begin with, but I need them now. So I need a Beyonce butt right now to really start walking. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to give you a little inspiration today of just saying, look, whatever you believe, you're right. and I believe I'm going to walk again, and I'm right. And if I sat here and told you I don't believe I'm ever going to walk again, guess what? I'd be right too. And so then I would set into motion two paths, either the motion and the actions and the belief and the daily actions of not walking. So I would do things consciously and subconsciously to make sure that I would never walk again. Like maybe flying down that ramp subconsciously, hoping subconsciously to wreck, so I would break my leg so I would never walk again. So that way it would be a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I mean, this is psychology 101 for you in your life. Versus today when I go down it, I'm actually putting the brakes on and I'm making sure I'm straight and I'm going slowly and I'm saying to myself, I never want to fall again. And that is so hard for me because I just want to fly down that thing as fast as I can because that's just who I am. That's who I've been my entire life. That's the reason I've been able to do the things I have physically, sports-wise, competition-wise, business-wise, and personal life. It's just been balls to the walls, 100 miles an hour. Don't take anyone's advice. Don't look at any warning signs. There are no stop signs. It's 100 miles an hour all the time. So for me, the aha moment was maybe I was doing that subconsciously because there was still doubt and disbelief in myself. There were days where I said, I'm never going to walk again. I'm never going to walk again. And then I'd wake up from a nap and say, I'm going to go in and stand. I'm going to go work out. But there was always this blip, little blip going on all the time of doubt and disbelief. And so today, my new mantra for myself is I'm going to walk again. And I'm going to go slow down the ramp of life. And I'm going to make sure that I do it the right way. So whatever situation you're in personally, today I just want to motivate you that whatever you believe is right, you're correct. And life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that goes into your personal life. It goes into your marriage. If you're married, it goes into parenting. It goes into being a friend. It goes into your business. And whatever you believe, you're right. If you believe that you're going to be in debt the rest of your life, you're correct. If you believe you can't build a network marketing business, you're right, you can't. If you believe you're going to get divorced, you're going to get divorced. If you believe you're going to file bankruptcy, you'll probably end up filing bankruptcy. If you believe you're going to be overweight forever, then you're probably going to be overweight forever. But if you dare choose the life of resistance, where you look up and say, is that all you got? If that's the type of life that you choose to live, then here's what you've got. You've got resistance every single day. It's this idea that you're going to say, for instance, I'm going to say, I'm going to walk again, and then somehow tomorrow I'm going to walk. It's not going to happen. A year from now I'll be walking. But that's only after 365 days of concerted effort of being careful with my shoulders and my legs, that if I broke a leg now or an ankle now, it would derail my workout. It would put me behind 2 years. You realize that? I mean, almost 2 years, because for every 1 day that you're in bed, that you don't stand or walk, it takes 3 days to recover. So I was in bed a total of 180 days. In about a 9-month period. So that's 540 days of recovery. And I'm in about, what am I about here? About, 100 days into recovery if you actually take when I started working out. So I'm only 100 days. So mathematically, you know, when you say 540 minus 100, I've got 440 days to go. No, I don't. I'm not gonna accept that. But if I sit back and go, well, I'm really not going to start walking until they tell me that I could walk, which is 540 days. Phooey on that. If I believe that, then that's what will happen. That's the industry standard. That's what doctors are telling me I should look forward to. So where I'm at is I'm going to walk again, and I'm going to do it in a year. Less than a year. And that's where I'm at. So I want to encourage you today, wherever you're at, whatever you believe, you're right. Start learning to believe and know when you do that, you'll get resistance. And that resistance is telling you you're on the right path. If you're not getting any resistance in a decision that you make, you might want to reconsider upping the game a little bit. Because just like with weightlifting, I watch all these people, I've been watching them for months now, coming in and just doing little 1-pounders, or they're doing their little machine like this. And I look at their body 90 days later, and it looks exactly the same. And I look at my body 100 days later, and mine looks different. I'm losing some weight. I'm gaining. As Sherry says, look at your guns the other day. And I go, yeah, look at them. She goes, your legs are looking good. I said, that's right. I'm hot, man. You know, so it's resistance is there for a reason for you. And the challenge in our lives as individuals is that we choose the path of least resistance. We choose the path of least resistance because it's easier. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt physically, doesn't hurt emotionally, doesn't hurt mentally. It's easy to give up. It's easy for me to lay in bed and take a pill and go, you know, the shot's no good today. I'm Maverick and Top Gun. Shot's no good. I just got to go home. I just got to lay down. But I got to get back up. This morning I got up at 4:30. I couldn't sleep. I was in pain. So to me, I go, you know, I could lay here in pain, or I could get up and finish one of my training manuals that I did, and I posted it today. And I could write a blog, which I did. And I can get my stander, which I did, and I can do my deep knee bends, which I did, which hurt like hell. And I can go out around the block in my wheelchair at 6 a.m. or 6:45 and do a mile, which I did. And now I'm coming back and doing a video. The day's just begun, and I've been up since 4:30. So I go, I can either lay in bed and be in pain, or I can be up and be in pain and be productive. Guess what's happened since I've got up and I've become productive? My pain's almost all gone, okay? I told you I was at about a 12 or so. Well, just by talking with you here, it's gone down to a 6. When I was laying in bed this morning, it was a 20. With the idea, well, I should take another pain pill and roll over and go to sleep. And maybe if I wake up at 8 or 9, the pain will be gone. And it won't, because it's just waiting there. It's resistance. And so when we know, when we wake up, that resistance is going to be there, what we do is we avoid going there. We avoid going places where there's pain. And that's physically, and that's emotionally, and that's mentally. And you know what? I'm just driving right into it. What's that song, you know, Sugar, We're Going Down Swinging? I mean, that's it. I'm going down swinging. There's no way that Robert Blackman is going to go out as a wimp, as somebody who's given up on the chance to walk again. And I'm going to do it. And it's changed me as an individual personally, and it's changed me as a business person. And I'm hoping and praying that it's changing my children, that they get to see me in a different light, that they never saw Dad before. That it doesn't just inspire them, but it instills in them that if Dad can do that, then whatever challenges I'm having, which some of them I know that they have that they'll never tell me, that they can emotionally and mentally on their own do that. And I'm going to leave you with one antidote, which is really powerful that I want you to do as well today. Gosh, back when I was 16 or 17, my dad came home from a business forums conference in Florida, which was a big deal. He was invited to speak. And if you ever knew my dad, I mean, he was a motivator, just the first few words that came out of his mouth. Big, boisterous, confident guy, the most confident person in the world. I mean, we'd be sitting there in a business meeting, and I knew that we were overdrafted $2,500 and a payroll check just hit. I knew we were on cash only with paper companies and vendors, and we were having to go to new vendors to put us on non-cash. And he'd be sitting there in a meeting, and I'd be listening to him talk like we were worth, you know, $10 million. And I'd get out of there, and we'd be driving. He goes, okay, we got the order. And I just go, I just don't know how you did that. And he goes, did what? And he goes, I feel like you lied in that meeting. He goes, lied? He goes, what did I tell that man that was a lie? And I go, well, we're overdrawn at the bank, and you're acting like we're worth $1 million. And I go, yeah, is that a lie? And he goes, well, you're not worth $1 million. He goes, did I tell the man I was worth $1 million? I go, no. And he goes, son, he pulled the car over. He goes, son, he goes, where we are right now is just a dip. He goes, and I'm not staying down in the dip. I'm coming back up. And he just pulled, put it back in gear and drove on. And that's all he said to me. And I just remember sitting there looking, and he just started, humming along and, being himself. And I just go, wow. I learned a lot that day. But when he came back from this convention, he gave me 2 sets of cassette tapes, big albums of cassette tapes. One was by Dennis Waitley, which was Psychology of Winning. And the other one was Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field. And if you haven't listened to either one of those, you can on YouTube today. Just go Google them. Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field. And then Dennis Waitley, Psychology of Winning. 16 and 17-year-old kid listening to those because my dad gave them to me. And playing them over and over again. Going to sleep with my headphones on with the cassette player. Going to sleep with them. Waking up. Putting them in my Walkman when I worked out. When I rode my 10-speed bike to school. Or I rode my car to school. People would come, kids would come and say, what's this stuff? Psychology. Who's Earl Knight? Lead the Field. What is this old? What are you going to learn from this old man? I said, my dad gave them to me. They're motivational tapes. Leave them alone. Talked about is that they took this basketball team, which whenever I coached basketball, I taught this. They took this basketball team and they divided it in 2 sets. And one group would go down and they'd shoot free throws, best out of 10. And they were practicing weeks and months on end to continue to practice shooting free throws and working on the best out of 10. He took another group down to the other end of the basketball court and he had them stand in there without a basketball and visualized their routine. And as you guys, anyone knows, basketball knows free throws is I used to spin the ball up, dribble it 3 times, look down the ground, look up at the gym, look up at the rim, and then shoot it. And as I was looking down, I was visualizing it was going in. So I was always a 78 to 85% free throw shooter. So he had this group of people set back, there's a group of kids set back and not even shoot a basketball, but to visualize making it 10 out of 10 times. And then that kid would stop, he did his 10, and then the next kid would come in. At first, they thought it was kind of a joke. They couldn't really get into it. The parents were calling the coach. And so after several months of that, they had a contest. And who do you think got the best percentage out of 10 free throws? The group down here that was actually shooting, or the group down here that visualized getting 10 out of 10 every time? Which one do you think won? Well, most people would think it was the ones that were practicing the most, right? That actually physically touched the ball and spinned it and dribbled it and got to shoot it and physically felt the ball. No, it was a group of people who had never ever shot a ball but visualized it going in 10 out of 10. And the moral of this story is the ones that were down here shooting rarely made 10 out of 10. And so they got to see in their mind's eye the ball missing. And they got used to the ball missing. They thought 7, 8, 9 out of 10 was incredible because very few people could consistently hit 10 out of 10. Matter of fact, there's never been anybody in the history of the NBA or college that has a 100% free throw shooting percentage. They're in the 90s, but no one's ever done 100%. Rick Barry came close, but remember him, he was doing the underhand for you old guys. So it just goes to show in life. That's the way we're wired. That's the way God made us, is that we are mentally driven. We attract whatever the miracle's right here. That's the miracle. Whatever you think, you attract. Subconsciously or consciously, and it's little tiny things. It's not the big, boisterous walking out the front door, I'm never going to walk again. No, it's the small little, well, I just should lay down here and I should just, because I'm never going to walk again. Just little tiny self-talks. And 10 of those a day, 100 of those in a day, 1,000 of those in a week, versus 5 times I've said I'm going to walk. That's why I came out today on my post and I said I will walk again. And I've been very cautious about that because what I wanted to do, part of me, is I didn't want to say anything until I was actually walking again. And then I wanted to show everybody. And Sherry said, no, everyone wants to hear about what you're doing now. They don't want to wait until the end of the last chapter of the book. They want to read the book. Very smart lady saying these things to me. So I'm listening to her, which is one of the things I didn't do before. And so I think that she's happier with me now and that part of my personality for sure. So anyway, visualize. 10 for 10. Whatever you're doing, I'm visualizing myself as I'm out there on the wheelchair today. I'm visualizing myself one day jogging again. The same route that I'm going for a mile, I'm visualizing myself walking and then jogging. And instead of going, you know what, I could be in this wheelchair the rest of my life going around this neighborhood, because that thought came in my head today. Why am I wasting my time out here? I'm never going to walk again. Well, I'm working on my shoulder, so I'm going to have big arms. I said, no, man, you're going to walk this thing. So while I'm out there trying to do something positive, there's stuff going on, left shoulder, right shoulder. I'm, doing this back and forth, even today. And so we all struggle with it. We all have these same types of issues that's going on in our personal lives, regardless if you're in business or not, it doesn't matter. We all struggle with these things personally, and so do our soulmates, and so do our children and our grandchildren. So inspire them today. Go listen to Dennis Waitley's Psychology of Winning and listen to that little segment where he talks about that. Share that with your kids. Share that with the people at work if you're in charge of a group of people. Create more of a more positive environment of we can do it. And if we can do it, how are we actually going to go about doing it? I just can't sit here and close my eyes and clench my fist, and grab onto that penny like Christopher Reeve did in the movie and put myself where I'm going to wake up and walk one day. I've got to work at it. It's physics at this point. I've got to rebuild my muscles in order to get to walk again. And that's where I'm at. So whatever you've got to do to rebuild your own muscles, whether that's personal, it's business, it's physical, it's emotional, whatever it is, visualize it as clichéist, is that what it is? As much of a cliche as that may be, it's true. And the reason why it's been said over and over again through the test of time, because it's just true, guys. It's true. And so whatever that means in your life, I inspire you today that if I can do it, you can do it. And as I overcome it, I want you to overcome it as well too. So anyway, you guys have a great Sunday. You have a great week. And I'll be back tomorrow with my business video, hoping to slide in maybe once a week, maybe every Sunday I'll do just a personal video like this. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if I can master that and get out of business only mode. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful to you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.